You were born with something extraordinary, a unique genius. It's that unmistakable place where your strengths and your passion collide, where impact meets fulfillment. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement for entrepreneurs who refuse to settle, who believe life is meant to be rich in purpose, alive with meaning, and overflowing with possibility. Here, we pull back the curtain on bold journeys, stories of courage, clarity, unapologetic authenticity. These are the visionaries who are building wealth, creating freedom, and changing the world by fully owning the gifts they were born to share. Because the meaning of life is to find your gifts and the purpose to use them fully. Welcome to the Unique Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Angela Chanowsky. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Unique Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Angela Chanowsky, and I'm so excited to have my guest, Shai, with me today. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. First and foremost, this is very exciting. We really got to bond, 2 weekends ago? Time kind of flies. I can't believe it's been already 2 weeks since then. And then you left and you went to Santa Barbara and you were pumping iron. I saw all that. So that was cool.
I did two deep dive. I went from one deep dive experience to a physical deep dive experience right after that. So
that's awesome.
We'll dive into our experience a couple weeks ago, but we got to know each other on a whole different level.
So my name is Shai Ades. I have a couple companies. One, I have One Call Close Academy. It's a consulting company made for home improvement and home service companies. I teach people how to generate leads through door knocking, and more so, I teach people how to one call close. And that's exactly what it sounds, how to go into a client's home and walk out with a contract and a deposit with one visit without the need for follow-ups. So I've been doing this for 16 years now, and my wife has been pushing me to speak on stages and consult for 16 years now. And I started doing it about 2 years ago, and it's been quite the epic ride. And the other company that I own is, I co-own, is called Title Remodeling here in Carlsbad, California. And that is a home improvement company that we do roofing, windows, paint and stucco, patios, pavers, basically residential retail, everything on the exterior of the house.
Awesome. And I'm excited to dive more into One Call Close Academy.
One Call Close Academy. Yeah.
Close Academy. Because I knew about your other business, I think, but I didn't know as much about that. So I'm excited for all the ways that we can connect, especially in the home services.
For sure.
So let's start with your entrepreneurial journey, though, before we get into the more recent stuff of how did you become a business owner? What do you love about it?
I mean, I think I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've been, obsessed with making money since a little kid. I would go and sell my toys door to door, have lemonade stands, sell pinch pots made out of mud that I dug out of the backyard with my sister. I don't share this very often. I used to do magic shows when I was in high school. Like before I could even drive, my parents were driving me to kids' birthday parties. I used to do 30-minute magic show and 30-minute balloon animals for kids' birthday parties. And I was like 14 years old, making $120 an hour doing these birthday parties. I had an ad in the Cleveland Jewish News that ran every single Friday. My company was Magical Music, because then I started DJing as well. And I was DJing bar mitzvahs, weddings, proms, after proms. And I mean, this started before I could drive. I remember my dad used to always help me load up all my gear. He used to help me set up my shows. I would do the shows and he would come help me clean up afterwards. And then I was able to get my license. And then I went on doing that. And I DJ'd all through high school and a lot of college. It's funny, in college, you make way less money DJing at bars than you do in high school DJing bar mitzvahs and weddings. But I have always been just obsessed with entrepreneurship and making money. So it was only natural for me to go down that path. My whole life, people have told me you have a gift for gab and you should be in sales and you You have quite a bit of showmanship to you. So that's why I like speaking on stages and stuff. So it was just kind of natural evolution that I would eventually be an entrepreneur.
I love hearing the beginning stories of childhood and like what sparked that you always knew that. And I think there are two kinds of that, some people that fall into entrepreneurship, and then the people that really have that like sales driven side as well. That was me. I have all kinds of crazy, like from beginning childhood of that just drive for sales. And once you have that power of making money and like fall in love with that, you can, and you're in power of that transaction. And I think for me too, an early lesson was like, I'll never trade time for money.
100%.
My biggest thing I did like pre-owning businesses college was I had a season of Cutco. And I remember like my friends all having minimum wage job in high school. And I'm like, really? I just made $5,000 this morning. Like, what are you doing?
All I did was a couple of pairs of scissors and some knives, cut through the penny, do the presentation. My sister did Cutco, so I'm very familiar with it. And of course, in the home improvement field, first of all, they're at all the trade shows, but some of the top reps at companies around the country all started at Cutco.
Yeah. Neither one of my kids did it, but I always told them like, I think it's like a rite of passage everyone should do because it changes your frame of what you want to do. So
it changes your frame of the value of an hour.
Yes.
The value of an hour, $17, value of an hour, $5,000. So it really changes your worth, your self-worth.
Yeah, it does. And when you change that self-worth of what you are worth, it changes your mindset, not only as an entrepreneur, but I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck is doing things. They don't have that self-worth. So they're too long in their businesses, still trading time for money. Like
100%.
Especially in the area that we're in home service. Somebody started a business because they were mowing a lawn or doing the service, and they're missing the point of what you're
doing. Get
doing.
other people to mow for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I picked that up early on in college. I had a company called College Works, and I went to Miami of Ohio and Oxford, Ohio, very little town surrounded by cornfields. And I made flyers and I went stuffing them in all the mailboxes, and I was painting interior and exterior of houses. And I was charging $30 an hour and paying fraternity brothers $8 an hour. So I was just talking and schmoozing and they were painting. So, it's all about delegation.
It is all about delegation, and that's what we help people do. But so we've gotten to know each other in this space, both in Sam Taggart's mastermind, and I'm newer to the roofing space. So I've been a long time in like home service space. And that's who we mostly helped, besides helping like every area of executive with like an executive partner, executive assistant, mostly admins in that home service space.
What kind of home services?
Lawn and landscape, pressure washing, Christmas lighting, pest.
Okay. Tyler and I are starting another company. So we have Title Remodeling, and we're starting Title Home Services to do solar cleaning, gutter cleaning, and window cleaning. And we're about to launch that.
Gutter cleaning and window cleaning. Yeah.
We'll have to talk to you about that for sure.
Yeah. We're going to have to talk about all kinds of things. But newer to the roofing and that world in space. But that is how we met in Sam's mastermind. And so I've kind of run alongside. And then we were at this, I guess we'll dive into the Leadership Academy and then we'll go back to the story more.
Absolutely.
So just a couple weeks ago, as we said, we were at what we thought. We showed up to an event for our mastermind that we're in, and we have lots of trust in this mastermind, and it's always like great experiences. And so we normally don't look that much into what it is. We just show up.
We show up and play. Yeah.
Show up and play. And even though these mastermind, everything, the people in them take you to, the next level, and conversations take you to the next level, it's usually a pretty laid back, relaxing, I'll learn about myself in a very comfortable atmosphere.
For sure.
But I'll let you go first on our experience.
I mean, it was wild, right? First and foremost, we were all there and I'm talking to everyone and I was kind of last minute to the party. So everyone's like, what'd you think of the intake phone call? I'm like, oh no, I didn't get an intake phone call. I didn't, everyone's like, what'd you think of all the health forms we had to fill out? If, how you handle stress and all that. I'm like, I didn't really read it. I just kind of signed it. And then Alexia, the one who kind of facilitated us doing this, I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm leaving Friday night. She's like, oh no, you can't participate if you leave Friday night. And that's when I was telling you, I'm like, Alexia says I can't participate. So she's like, no, you have to be here till Saturday. And if not, you can just go home now. So I had to call my wife and be like, babe, I love you. I'm going to do, she's like, you should stay. You should stay. And then you, myself, and Megan Walker were eating. And all of a sudden we're being yelled at, and yelled at simple directions like, you have 1 hour to eat and then we're going in the room. And then that's when you and myself met. We're like, what's going on? Like, why are we being yelled at? And then I asked the lady, I'm like, are we going to be yelled at all weekend? They're like, we're not yelling, we're projecting. And that's when we're like, what did we get into? And then, I got nervous, you got nervous. We're like, there's a casino right across the street. Maybe we should just have some margaritas and check out with Sam and tell him we love him. But so we stayed at this rapport leadership program, and we definitely got projected upon, but because they set the tone, very, very rigid tone, I would say. And we had to present. The first thing we did was we presented on what it was, what does being on time mean to us, right? Punctuality. And of course, we all went up there and we failed. And they said, you chose to fail yourself because whatever reasons, right? Everyone had different reasons. You didn't project, or you didn't talk loud enough, or who knows. And then we're all like, what is this? But lo and behold, we went through the whole weekend, and like many things in life, we're all like, this is amazing that we did this. We're so happy. We got so much out of it. We came together as a group. Now we have our own little group chat that everyone, people are checking in from Argentina this morning on the group chat. And it was a really great event. Do you have the same feelings, Angela, about the event?
It was, we went in, and one, I realized like how uncomfortable I get when I'm not in control, or I have a lack of control of my schedule or what's going on, or how I get to show up. And also realized I hadn't put myself in a position in a long time. As entrepreneurs, we're in charge, right? Like we're in charge of most of our lives. And I hadn't put myself in a position of getting that uncomfortable, of getting that much feedback. And we also don't work for people. So we're not in situations where somebody's giving us a lot of feedback. And it was feedback.
We're giving the feedback.
Yeah, we're giving the feedback. Yeah. And it was a scenario of where, as well, we show up a lot in life, and I'm not meaning to say this in a cocky way, but we do a lot of things better than most people.
Yeah.
Including speaking in front of other people. Like you and I both speak in front of other people, and we do that better than most people. And so the standard we have for ourselves is like, I'm doing it better than most people. And I have not put myself in a situation in a long time where somebody pulls out of me, but that's not the best that you can do it.
For sure.
You might be better than everybody else, but it's not your best. You could do better, and you failed yourself because you're not trying to be better. And so it got very uncomfortable. But a room of not complete strangers, I would say we all knew who each other was, but by the end, it was such a space.
There was a bond. There was definitely a bond at the end, right?
Yeah.
I think the other thing is no one knew the schedule. I mean, day one, they're like, you're going till midnight. We're like, what are you talking about? We're going to midnight. And the next day you're there at 8 and you're going till 11 p.m. And like, if that's the case, great. But tell me the schedule for the day. And, the unknown made it scary.
Unknown made it scary. Yeah. And that feedback on a different level. But my biggest takeaway overall, we all had a lot of breakthroughs that we went, but just that how many times is like good, not good enough, that I'm like, I did it good. That was good. I'm showing up good. were preparing to go on stage and you rehearse your speech and you're like, yeah, it's good. But how could you always take yourself to the next level of like, good isn't good enough? Like thinking of that scenario and I'm like, am I doing everything I do to that level?
I'm with you.
So
I wing it a lot. So preparation might be good, so.
So do I. Okay. So how did you tell us about your growth in your business and maybe some of that journey and then how you decided to take that and share and help others with what you were doing.
Absolutely. So the business, I've been doing it 16 years and I learned a lot. I've worked for people. I've had different business partners and my parents always told me, copy the good, right? There's bad stuff you can focus on from everybody, but just copy the good and eliminate the bad and move on. And I've been doing it for so long and been exposed to so many different people that it made me really good at it, right? And I like to role play a lot back then. And I took it very serious because I saw the income potential of it. And then when I broke up with my last business partner, he put me in all kinds of legal stuff, different story. But basically, I did a deal on a handshake and I learned a lesson in contracts at the time. And everything was in my name. So I wasn't able to just move on as easily as someone else would from one venture to the other. And that's when One Call Close Academy was born so that I could still be in the space and I could help other people. And then I wanted to try and help thousands of people, right? I have right now at Title Remodeling, we have 17 sales reps. So I speak to 17 sales reps. I speak to 20 canvassers. So I influence 37 lives. But with the power of the internet and speaking on larger stages, I get to influence thousands of lives. And I'm at the point where that's the most rewarding part of my day, right? Is every couple of days you get a random text or a message from someone and they're like, I'm doing so much better in this because of what you said, or because of your books, or because of a podcast that I heard you speak on. I was right before the event even started, I was talking with oh my God, one of the girls there, Georgia's best roofer. Why am I blanking on her name? She won the most improved. Miss Ortiz.
Miss Ortiz. Like I know we had to call everyone.
I don't know her first name now because we had to call everyone Ms. and Mr. But anyways, she's like, you did that training on the call 2 weeks ago and you don't understand how fire it was. And I'm using it. I have my whole company using it. And to me, it was just like, sometimes you get so used to what you do that you don't realize the impact it has, right? To me, it's just normal. And she's like, you changed the business. Like, we're doing so much better because of the 45-minute call that you did. And I'm like, oh my God, Monica Ortiz is, yes. I'm like, dude, thank you so much. Like, that to me is more rewarding than a paycheck, right? And that's why I wrote the books, because I hope to influence, tens of thousands of people through the books as well.
I got one of them. I got to grab it here. Just got it.
Yeah.
So how many books have you written?
So I have
just hot off the press.
Yeah, this is hot off the press, a week old. It's now an Amazon bestseller. So that one's for door knocking, right? And I'll tell you, I think the best part of this whole book is the journal, right? So I don't even know if you flipped through it yet because you just got it. But
I did.
There's monthly, weekly, and daily journals. And one of the things that keeps people, I think, from being their best is a lack of direction and a why. And if people, practice gratitude every morning, personal and professional gratitude, they write their goals out, it gives them alignment for the day. And I think not the days you feel like doing it, but the days you don't feel like doing it, those are the most important days to go to the practice, right? LeBron James, one of the best in the world, whether you think so or not, Kobe, whatever. But these guys, they don't want to work out every day, even though they're the best, but they have to work out every day. And their why and being the best and their contracts is what gets them to do things on days they don't feel like doing it. So my favorite part about this is the journal. And I am going to work on another one for salesmen. So I'm going to do the 5-minute door knocker and the 5-minute in-home sales rep. And then my first book is in-home sales, how to master one call close at the kitchen table. And this is all about literally what I teach people to one call close. And I have a 10-step process, and the whole 10-step process in here, the canvassing pitches in here, the negotiations are in here. Like if you came and you were a new sales rep at Title Remodeling, like you would get this book in a 2-week training class. And now I actually make people buy the book before the training, and it makes the training go so much faster and smoother. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, it is cool. And I'm excited that I got to be part of it.
I appreciate it. And you helped make it an Amazon bestseller. So
yeah. I love that you are taking your unique genius, what you do best, like what you have figured out in your, craft, and are doing it on a larger scale of not just using your gifts to build your business and just, your sphere and train up the people in your business. But like you said, have such a larger impact and help so many people in the ripple effect. So using what you have really mastered in this, in your systems of sales, and how can you get those systems out to the world to help more people be successful.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's so awesome. So I'm so excited to see you being able to do more and more of that. But people need that in the home service. I think like door knocking is more popular in some businesses, in roofing and pest and in kind of those traditional industries where door knocking is. But the one call close, I think in home service, what I've seen is so many people have taken this like lazier approach that they're waiting for the phone to ring. They're like, let's put some Google ads out there. Let's just like throw marketing out like spaghetti and wait for people to come to us. And then there've been seasons that works, right? We've been in a season of overflow, I think, in home service where people could rely on that and just have sat back, waited for their phone to ring. And those are a different type of customer, different type of client. Now, sometimes you still have to sell them and go out and give an estimate and sell them at the kitchen table. But people have taken that like more backseat approach. And now with things shifting, this is more important than ever. Like you have to go out. You guys all have the power. Business owners, like you have the power to sell and turn your business around and get out there and get your clients.
Well, this is also how you eliminate, people always ask you, what's your high season and what's your low season? Well, for people, it's when the phone rings, it's high season. And when the phone's quiet, it's low season. But for us, it's always high season and then higher season because we are generating our own business, right? A lot of companies die in November, December, and January. And we have $1 million months, $1.5 million months in November, December, and January, because like you said, we're out there eating what we kill. We're out there fetching instead of waiting and being proactive or reactive to what's out there. And also, I feel it's the most control, right? If you spend $10,000 on SEO, they tell you, I've had so many conversations with SEO companies. I'm like, okay, I'll give you this $10,000. How many leads will I get in return? Like, I don't know. The algorithm has to learn and it's going to take a couple months and this and that. Versus if you take that same $10,000 and you train guys to go door knocking, I'll tell you how many leads you're going to get. I'll tell you what the ratios are going to be, what the conversion rate's going to be. And then once I have that data, we can work on improving it, right? So it's like you can knock on a door today, be at a kitchen table tomorrow, versus you can call an SEO company today and they'll work on your ad for 2 weeks and then it goes live. And then it's a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months until the phone starts ringing and you might only get a couple calls. Right. And like you mentioned, more importantly, it's a different customer because the guy that Googles pest control near me, window company near me, he's not just calling you, he's calling the guy above you, the guy below you, and maybe even 2 more. Versus when we knock on the door, they're not in the market. We're putting them in the market and we're closing it before they even think about getting other bids or shopping around.
Exactly. So they're not shopping it on price. They're a completely different mindset. Like you said, you're putting them in the market and telling them why they need it and why they need you. but yeah, it's a lost art, I think, in a lot of those home service industries. In the industries that we talked about, they are just waiting for the phone to ring, and have never even thought of, like, when you say door knocking or even cold calling, that like door knocking can be physically knocking on doors, and it can also be, I think, like, what else are you doing to get in, like whether it be calls or what are the different ways that you can get to that kitchen table yourself without waiting for your phone to ring.
100%. And I'll tell you where I think the least utilized is when you already have a client, right? If you have a client on a street and you're not going to go and knock on the 2 neighbors and the 3 across the street, like, you're just leaving money on the table every time. And people, there's this stigma of, I'm too good to go knock on those doors. Well, if your average commission's $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, how much money are you leaving on the table by not knocking on those doors? People always want to keep up with the Joneses. People want to, do what other people are doing. It's like, you're too good to go pick up $2,000, $3,000. I'll pick up $100 bill with dog poop on it and go wipe it off. Like, other people are like, ew, I'm not picking that up. Like, it's not always pretty. It's not glamorous, but the hustle's the hustle.
Yeah, exactly. Those houses that are right by it. And one of the industries, besides Unique Genius, we also have my husband has,
a pressure washing company.
Pressure washing and holiday lighting, permanent lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And permanent lighting, I mean, that's becoming so much more popular.
100%.
That is for sure keeping up with the Joneses. If you are doing lighting of any kind on houses, when it's pest and you're knocking on the doors beside, people can't necessarily see that they're keeping up with the Joneses. But when they just got their house like all lit up.
Yeah, it's like Christmas Vacation or whatever those Christmas movies. I'm Jewish, so I don't know the Christmas movies, but it's like people want to compete. Like, oh, they have more lights than us, honey. Go buy more lights. Like.
And the permanent lighting does all these like magical shows, and is year round for whatever you want it to be, themed sports, whatever. And yes,
see what he did to your house. I'm sure it's bumping.
That is, yeah, you can make it look pretty crazy. But that is for sure a reason. But you can do it in every industry, like knocking on the, doing the doors around, like you said, telling people. So what industries, tell us more about what is going on with One Close Academy.
I mean, I think the most fun part is that I coach so many industries, landscaping companies, drywall and paint companies, concrete lifting companies. I'm coaching real estate guys in San Francisco because they do property management and they get a lot of phone calls, but they don't close the deals. So, and I'll tell you, the biggest thing I see in sales is a lack of a sales system. There's a lot of really good people that close, and a lot of them close on charisma, but that's not scalable. And you can't have a sales team where, John and Jimmy close because they're really good people, and, the other 5 guys don't, but if you came to my company here, like, we don't create robots, but you can have them all pitch you, and you can make one stop and have the other one pick up where the other one left off and stop, and the next one and the next one and the next, and they can finish their sentences. Now, they all have their own personality and their own style and everything like that, but we have like a true sales system that's in the book, step 1, step 2, step 3, because then you can have actual meetings and coaching. If everyone's doing something completely different, what's the point of the sales meetings? Hey guys, go close more. And I think one of the biggest differences between me and other companies is I teach scripts, I teach methodology, I teach actionable items, where a lot of coaching platforms and a lot of masterminds and seminars, they teach ideas, right? The idea of knocking on a door. But I teach knock on a door and say this. And when they say this, respond with this. And when they say that, respond with this. And it's like, here's the playbook, just master it. And then it comes down to delivering it with conviction, because I can say what you say, but I can't be Angela. And you can say what I say, but you can't be Shai. So it's like, you got to learn it, you got to internalize it, and then you got to go say it with conviction. That's
so true. There's so many programs out there for for so many things that are just mindset. And they're not fluff, because it's
super important. But what do I have the mindset, but I don't know what to do next.
Yes.
Right? Like, you
People
need
come back
to
and they come back all excited from a sales conference, but then they don't have anything to put into action.
Exactly.
And
this gives you automatic implementation.
that's awesome. Because I think in a lot of home service businesses, what I see, because that's a lot of what we work with, one, it's either they don't have a salesperson. So their sales is either the owner going out to do those estimates, or they're relying on technicians that they've never trained in sales, or they've gotten themselves to the point that they now have a sales guy.
Yeah.
Right? They've grown to the point in a home service business that they have a sales guy. But almost every business that I've seen in home service, they do not have a sales process. Like you said, they got a sales guy, and what they did was hire a sales guy that had sales experience, probably not experienced in home service sales though. And
he figured it out as he went.
They just say, go sell. They get them, and then all they do, they don't have a sales process. They train them on their company. Like, this is what our company does. This is like how we wash houses, or how we mow lawns, and what our pricing is. And that's the extent of their training.
For sure.
And yeah, like you said, then there's no duplicatable process. There's not like, here's a process to ramp you up quickly, and nothing for coaching. So how do you help business? Like, tell me all the ways that you help if there is a home service business of whatever size. They don't have a salesperson. They have a salesperson. They need to drive business.
Yeah. So I help with the owners. A lot of times it's the owner that's the bottleneck in the whole process, and his limiting beliefs and what he thinks should be done. And he is running the sales calls, and he's like, I'm too busy for this and that, and I tell him, get a piece of paper, write down what you need in your company. Like, so much can happen when a man or a woman grabs a piece of paper and a pen and starts writing, and you get it off your heart and you get it off your chest, and you can visually see like the holes in your company. And then I help you with the training, with running ads, with how to interview. If you already have the team, I will look at the sales process, and a lot of times they don't have a sales process. So let's create a sales process. What's going to be step 1? What's going to be step 2? What's going to be step 3? What visual aids do you have to show the homeowner? Oh, you don't have any visual aids. Well, let's create an actual presentation in Keynote, in PowerPoint, so that you guys have something replicatable and something visual for homeowners to see. And then I teach them the closing. And then to work with me, I have one-on-one sessions that people buy. I do virtual sessions that about every other month. I do a 6-session door knocking class. I do a 6-session one call close class. And then I'll just put the dates. It's like, I usually put it up 3-4 weeks in advance and say, hey, this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the following Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for an hour, we're going to do this virtual class. And then I have companies that take me and I physically go to their office and I'll meet with their sales reps. And it starts out a lot of times just watching and seeing what's going on and what systems they have and what they don't have. And I'll run a sales meeting for them. I'll do a training for them. And then it's a lot of follow-ups through Zoom meetings or flying back out a little bit later. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing that happens with a lot of this stuff, which is the biggest disappointment, is people want to know what to do, but they're not willing to do it. And it's analysis by paralysis. I have like some great people that, because if you ask me questions online, I talk to everyone for free, right? I even have a 15-minute discovery call. You can sign up and I'll talk to you 15 minutes, give you some thoughts and ideas. And it's like 2 months go by and you're asking me the same questions. And you're watching and you're like, Shai, your business did 18 million last year. Shai, you guys did 2 million last month. Like, that's amazing. It's like, that's great. Like, you can keep watching me like a movie, or you can start putting action into yourself. So did you read the book yet? I ordered the book, but I haven't read it yet. Okay. Did you write anything down on paper? I haven't done it yet, but I know I need to. And it's like 2 months go by, 3 months go by, and you're still in the same scenario. So like, I really like coaching people that are like really hungry, and like, I give you an assignment and the next week you're done. You're like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Because like, when you have to start repeating yourself, like, I don't care about the couple $1,000 I make from you. Like, I care about watching you succeed, because your success, if I coach you, is my success. Right.
Yeah.
if we're having the same conversation every month, like, I'm like, dude, maybe I should just like, let's stop the coaching. And when you're ready to actually implement, like, I'm all on your board, but like, we're having the same conversation every week, every month here, and nothing's changing. Like, aren't you tired of being stuck where you're at? So that's how I help. I also help with the door knocking. That's one of the biggest things I'm sure in the home service and home improvement companies. Like, if you're a part of the Blue Collar Millionaire group, like every single day, there's people like, how do I grow my business? How do I get more leads? And everyone's like, I'm like, door knock, go door knock. Everyone's like, who's bought in leads before? And everyone's like, don't buy leads, it's garbage. And they're like, no, I need to buy leads. It's like, go door knock. And then like some people are like, I've door knocked before and it didn't work. It's like, okay, it doesn't mean door knocking doesn't work. It means you did it wrong. So get another mentor, right? And try again. Like, it's so hard to get people to try things another time in their business. But it's like, you dated someone when you were younger and it didn't work out. So you're like, what? I'm going to be single. I'm never going to date again. Like, no, you dated somebody else and it didn't work out. And you dated somebody else. Like, it's the same thing. You got to date coaches. You got to date masterminds. I think my biggest growth as a human has been masterminds. I'm in Sam's mastermind. I'm also in Legacy Family, which is a real estate mastermind. And just like the power of proximity to doers and go-getters has been huge. And, you go into your business and when you start to burn out at that 60, 90-day mark, there's a mastermind, there's an event, and you go surround yourself by all these people and it gives you energy. And then you go back to your business and you have 90 days. And then you go to an event and it's just like that recharge, that refuel. And so many people are not willing to spend money on themselves, but they want the success. They watch other people do it. They scroll and they say, oh, this is for them, not for me. Well, it is for you. You just have to like buy less Starbucks and buy more coaching.
Yes. Let's visit unpack some things in that. One, yes, the mastermind. People, it is so valuable, like you said, to be in the proximity of other people. It's not always about like the things that you learn in the master, like the content that's actually given. In this case, we just went to a scenario where it was a lot about the content that we were given, but putting yourself in rooms with people, intentionally showing up so that you are around people that will level you up. In isolation, you're bound to get frustrated, and that, enthusiasm ends, the things that happen in your business end. So the biggest investment you can make is in yourself. In order for your business to get to the next level, you've got to invest in yourself and take you to the next level. Like, you are the next thing. So 100%. I totally agree with that. Being a mastermind and then getting a coach, like putting yourself in a program, realizing that you don't know it all and you need somebody to walk you through it. And that will always take you to the next level as well.
100%. And they're also like, there's a little bit of, they hold you accountable, right? Like you and your husband, you guys are so good about going to the gym. I hate going to the gym. So I pay to go to a place that costs a good amount of money. And now I work out because I paid the money and I have to go. And, if I'm working out at home and I'm doing push-ups, when I get tired, I stop doing push-ups. But when you're there, like, keep going, don't stop, right? And it's these little details. And it's the same thing in your business as well. Like, if you keep doing what you're doing where you're comfortable, you're not going to expand, right? Growth happens when you do hard things, when you get out of the comfort zone. When someone tells you, hey, you need to make this presentation by next week when we talk, versus I'll make a presentation one day. You've been saying it for months and you've never done it, right? So there has to be deadlines. There has to be accountability. And there's also just like the belief. If I have the belief in you, Angela, then you have the belief in you. But when you're alone and, like you said, it starts getting hard and you start doubting yourself, you're like, I'm going to quit. It's why January 1st, everyone's at the gym. And by January 31st, it's the same people that were there in November, right? And they all quit.
And you have to set those systems up. Like right now when you're feeling great, that's awesome. But you have to put yourself in those mastermind situations so that when things happen, one, I think masterminds, coaching groups do two things. One, they do elevate you. They'll spring you to the next level, like bring you up, give you new ideas to go implement all of that. But it's also so important to surround yourself with this network that you have so that when something happens, you have that bounce back ability. You don't like keep going all the way to the bottom, but you have that.
Yeah.
One other thing you talked about in coaching of the frustration of some people sign up or get the ideas or you talk to them and they don't implement it. And before I started Unique Genius, I was in the phase of just doing lots of business coaching and consulting, speaking and coaching. And it was so frustrating. I'm like, I just gave you the blueprint. Like all you got to do is follow it. And I promise you it'll happen. And it's really one of the reasons I started this company. So I was like, I have to have a tool. You will not take this stuff off your plate and do the stuff you need to. So I'm going to have a solution where you get a strategic partner and they'll just execute everything I told you to do.
100%. 100%. And that's also why businesses need to grow so that the owner can delegate to other people to get stuff done. You know, there are visionaries and a lot of visionaries aren't good at stuff, right? I'm not a detail oriented person. Like the business of One Call Close Academy, like the go high level, the funnels, I hate all that. I just want to coach and be on stage, right? But the other part is necessary. So I need to grow it to the point where other people are doing that and I can be in my unique genius and do the part that I want to be doing, right? It's why at Title Remodeling, I don't talk to customers. We have a production staff to talk to them, right? I don't manage the canvassers. I come in and give meetings, but we have general managers to manage the people, right? And if you aren't going to do the things, you're never going to grow and you're not going to move the needle at all because you're the bottleneck to your own company.
Yeah. And that is the problem. Most people are the bottleneck to their own company. They'll go get help, but you're not listening and you've got to create your capacity. Everybody's got to do that. What we're doing now, work in your unique genius, your unique gifts, and hire a team to do the rest that you can delegate that to so that you can pour fire on your high value items, your unique genius, and work in those. But until you do that, until you get things off your plate, you can't implement all of the great things that you're learning in your coaching or any other thing if you're trying to do it all yourself.
Agreed.
Well, I knew our time was going to go quickly.
Are you guys around in July or you're going somewhere, right?
We are going to be in the Philippines. So we do we go yearly in July. We do a big summit, fly all of our strategic partners and do a big in-person event. So during your in-person event, we'll be there.
All good.
Why don't you tell everyone about your in-person event in July?
Absolutely. July 17th in Carlsbad, California at the Title Remodeling office. I'm doing a mastermind teaching people how to build a one-call close business. So we'll go over door knocking. We'll go over how to sell, pricing, how to grow. And I'm going to do a lot of just like whoever the participants are, I'm going to ask what they want to get out of it. And we will pivot and do it right there on the spot because I want whoever shows up to get a lot of value out of it. And then July 18th, there is no whiteboard. There's nothing. We will be at the opening day of the Del Mar racetrack, which is an amazing event in itself. They have, the big hat contest and everyone's dressed to the nines. I have a private 5th floor suite, and that is just a networking event. Like you said, it's proximity to, people that are doing what you want to be doing. So it's going to be 45 high-level entrepreneurs, 7- and 8-figure people watching the races, having good food, having good conversation, and you may walk out of it with your next investor or your next business partner. So July 17th and 18th, and you can see all the details on onecallcloseacademy.com.
So bummed I'm missing it, but I'm telling people about it.
There will be more.
Okay, I can't wait to tap into your next event. So if people want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Facebook group, One Call Close Academy, onecallcloseacademy.com online. And my Instagram is Shai Ades, ShaiAdes. And that's the best way to connect with me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your energy.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
With the audience. It was lots of fun. And I know there is lots in store for us in the future.
Amazing. Have a great day.
Thank you, audience. This has been another episode of Unique Genius Podcast. We'll see you next week.